There's a really rich body of Catholic social teaching on refugees and migrants, and at the heart of it is human dignity and welcoming the stranger. And there's a really important idea as well that we actually encounter Christ particularly or in a special way in migrants and refugees. And Pope Francis calls on us to welcome, protect, promote and integrate refugees and migrants. Also, CST tells us that the goods of the earth are for everyone, and this challenges us to rethink how we approach border management. So it's not just about control, we think about it in terms of human need and human flourishing. Solidarity is a really key principle in Catholic social teaching, and this teaches us to stand with people who are different from us and stand with people across borders. The common good. The common good is a really important principle here because it's about a good that we all share in. It's very different from many concepts of the greater good where you sacrifice someone's good to someone else's. It's inclusive and crucially is measured by the good, like what is good for the most marginalised, for the least, for the poorest, for the outsider and the excluded. And if it's not good for them, it's not a common good. Unfortunately, we are seeing a rise in anti-refugee laws and policies. We've seen the passage of many anti-refugee laws recently in the UK. Firstly, the Nationality and Borders Act, and now the Illegal Migration Act, which essentially bans refugees from claiming asylum in the UK. Really, most refugees will not even be able to have their claims heard under it, and of course plans to forcibly transfer people seeking asylum to Rwanda. This is against the backdrop of an international context that is becoming increasingly hostile, and it's also against the background of a long-standing culture in the UK of disbelief in asylum decision-making and hostility towards refugees. So this is a really important moment for this issue. JRS UK have some key asks for building a politics of welcome and humanity. First, repeal the anti-refugee laws. The laws recently passed, the Nationality and Borders Act and the Illegal Migration Act, and policies connected to it, like the forcible transfer to Rwanda scheme, are denying refugees the protection that they are entitled to and that they need. They violate human dignity and they disregard any sense that we have a duty to extend protection to refugees. These laws need to be abandoned. Secondly, let's build a person-centred decision-making asylum process that actually works to extend protection to people who need it. For a long time, asylum decision-making has been warped by a culture of disbelief in which decision-makers are looking for reasons to refuse people's claims. They don't look enough at the human beings who are claiming asylum, they don't listen to them. Just to give a sense of how frequent how frequent it is that someone is wrongly refused asylum, about half of the claims that are refused by the Home Office are actually granted. Refugee status is recognised when someone appeals to the court. So we really need to change this. We need a fair decision-making process. Now, there are lots of people who are living here long term. They are neighbours, they are members of our communities, and they desperately want to contribute and to participate in our communities, but they are shut out from doing so in so many ways. They can't access really basic necessities, and they're left vulnerable to exploitation, to abuse, to ill health, all because they don't have immigration status. This needs to change. At the moment, the only way that many people can regularise their status is if they've been here 20 years, then they have to gather together loads of documents that can be difficult to do in order to regularise their status. It shouldn't be like this. We need to make it easier. Most asylum seekers at the moment are not allowed to work. In fact, hardly any of them are. And this means they've got to live in poverty. Even if they can access asylum support, that's living off £7 a day, and many people can't access any at all, especially if they've been refused and they're still struggling in the system. And this is excluding them from society. They desperately want to work and contribute and participate and support their families. Now, Catholic social teaching thinks this is really important. Work is a key value and a key way of participating socially and key to human dignity in Catholic social thought. And what we hear from refugees really echoes this. They want to support their families, they want to participate, they want to contribute. Let's let them. Fourthly, let's end immigration detention. Every year, thousands of people are incarcerated in prison-like conditions indefinitely, purely to administer immigration procedures. This is really cruel. We see it in detention as JRS UK goes into detention to work with people, and we see how they deteriorate. I've spoken to torture survivors who've been detained. They say it's like being tortured again. Engage in conversations in your community. Please write to your MP and tell them you care about these issues. Tell them you want a welcoming and humane asylum system and that you don't want the anti-refugee laws. And get involved in local initiatives. Volunteer with a refugee charity. Host. If you can, please give money to a refugee charity, because charities supporting refugees are really struggling at the moment. It's a tough fundraising environment. But whatever you can do, however you can get involved and engage and help us to make this change happen, please do it.